And you know what, you tapped on it there, Andrew, because what the farmers and consumers, which means all of us, need is an advocacy focus. And that central sovereignty hub is AFSA, is becoming AFSA, the Australian Food Sovereignty Alliance. And our next speaker is driving that. She's the more recent president of the Australian Food Sovereignty Alliance. And for her and for the Alliance, it is all about consumer-supported agriculture, reconnecting people to the land and their food.
First of all, I want to say just how amazing it is to have everyone here. It's testament to the growing food sovereignty movement and to the awakening of just how broken our food system is. But there is hope because there is you. Food sovereignty is the rights of people to access culturally appropriate, nutritious and delicious food grown in ethical and ecological sound ways, and our right to democratically determine our own food and agricultural systems. So today has been all about supporting small-scale farmers and people's right to access the food that these farmers grow. I want to talk a little bit about community-supported agriculture and how that's growing in Australia, reconnecting people to the land that their food comes from, and how farmers and eaters can work together to grow this solidarity economy. More farmers selling nutritious, clean produce directly to the people who will eat it is the first step to healing a food system that's been disconnecting producers and consumers for too long. There will be many of you who either run CSA programs through your farms already or have a CSA share with a farm. But for those who don't know what I'm talking about, CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. It involves the creation of a direct relationship between producers and consumers, resulting in mutual gain. CSAs can be seen as sort of, subscriptions or box schemes where you take regular produce directly from the farmer and pay either upfront or in monthly instalments. But at their very best, they share risk and reward and even distribution tasks. I always refer to CSAs as the most delicious way to support a farming family. CSAs are a powerful expression of a solidarity economy. It's not just buying a few steaks and hashtagging local food on Instagram. It's stepping up and saying to a farmer, I commit to you for this season. You go and farm, I promise to take what you grow. I'm a farmer who's started a CSA program just this year, and it is an amazing feeling. I know I've got quite a few CSA members out in the audience. I consider that they're my community. They're partly my family. We've been selling direct for over 3, almost 4 years. So I know how it feels to connect to your customer base. But the CSA feels different. It's better again. We need to normalise this. There's a desire for connection between farmer and eater out there. We need to shorten the supply chain environmentally for the health of small, regional and rural towns. It's the only way forward. Buying direct from a farmer in a CSA or from a farmer's market, that can do that. So what's stopping farmers from embracing a CSA model in droves? What's stopping consumers from stepping up and supporting the farmers who already offer this arrangement? I speak to a lot of farmers, 10, 20 a week at the moment, many of them ready to take the first steps into direct sales or even the plunge into a CSA scheme. There seems to be this lack of confidence. As I say to them, just do it. You won't look back, I promise. And I think we need a mentoring program to kick that along. Multiple Australian Food Sovereignty Alliance committee members are small producers who offer CSA shares within their own farming practices, and we're well placed to provide forums for advice and discussions on how they best work, how to set them up, and how to market them. We are going to lose no opportunity to grow the growers. So what's stopping the eaters from stepping up into CSA programs? I think convenience is often a stumbling block. chasing farmers around, picking up produce from different farmers. In South Gippsland, we're getting creative. We're setting up near my farm a multi-producer food hub. No regulations required. It's on private land, and there's no selling on the day. It's all pre-ordered and delivered with in the same hour, and it's going to be amazing. We're working on a CSA model for that one too. It breaks my heart to see great farmers coming home from farmers markets with produce unsold, having spent hours justifying their prices. Farmers markets can be great to get the word out about your brand, about your farm, but I think there's a different and more creative way of approaching this, and that's CSAs. So what else can hinder the progress of community-supported agriculture in Australia? For livestock producers, one serious block is a lack of access to abattoirs. Without a registered abattoir, you can't legally sell your meat. I heard the sad news this week that the Gumbawa abattoir in Victoria's North is closing, so that's another one gone. But there are people doing good work out there. Multiple conversations in pockets around Australia, either in planning stage for community and shared resource abattoirs, and successfully, or people already having built their own micro abattoir or in the early stages thereof. I speak to so many farmers that could not easily access an abattoir. People in Queensland who are an 8-hour drive away from the nearest abattoir. How are they legally going to produce food for their communities? We need to bring back the local small-scale abattoir. Bring back sharing a farm-killed animal with neighbours and friends and local customers who trust you. Access to local infrastructure is paramount to food sovereignty. And that's one of the reasons why you're here, and why we campaign, and why AFSA has established a legal defence fund. Regulatory overreach in the planning laws, lack of access to abattoirs in Victoria for poultry particularly, overly burdensome and expensive processes are standing in the way of small producers from feeding their communities. So thank you to Tammi and the Jonai for continuing to show us how it's done and being radically transparent in the process. To the AFSA committee who give and give and give and give their time, their passion and their expertise to this movement. To Costa for being Costa, for being that champion of all that is natural and hopeful. And thank you to Joel for being here, for continuing to lend his voice, for inspiring so many of us, and for being that person pushing the boundaries and for reminding us what's possible. There can be no true food sovereignty without family farms and small-scale producers. All we need is transparency and trust between farmers and eaters. Safe, fair, scale-appropriate regulation, not burdensome red tape and illogical planning laws. We need to reclaim the narratives of normalcy around buying direct from the farmer. A decline in confidence in the kitchen, a persistent, uncomfortable reliance on supermarkets, a lack of awareness of just what it takes and what it costs to farm, environmentally and ethically, for an item of produce to go from tractor to trolley. We can do this better. Conscientious eaters, when they connect with small producers who steward the land well, these connections in a solidarity economy such as direct sales and CSA can harness great power in making changes to our broken food system. You should be proud of being here today. You're the ones who are stepping up to make that change. It has been an amazing day. Thank you for being here.
The narrative of normalcy, I'm loving that. Where's my hashtag? That's great.